If you hold citizenship in more than one country, and especially if one of those countries is the United States, there is a rule that could affect every international trip you take, every family vacation you plan, every emergency flight you book, and every time you stand in front of an airline check-in counter wondering why something that seems so simple suddenly became so complicated. What I am about to share today is not speculation, it is not internet rumor, and it is not one of those stories that only affects a tiny handful of people. This is a real issue that has been catching dual citizens completely off guard, and the consequences can range from missing a flight to being denied boarding, delayed for hours, referred to secondary inspection, or finding yourself stranded overseas while trying to resolve a passport problem you never knew existed. And the reason this matters so much right now is because the way border authorities process travelers in 2026 is not the same as it was 5 years ago or even 2 years ago. Technology has changed, screening systems have changed, verification procedures have changed. The ability of governments to instantly compare identities, travel histories, citizenship records, and passport information has expanded dramatically. What once slipped through unnoticed can now trigger questions almost immediately. And if you are a dual citizen, you need to understand exactly how these systems work before your next trip. Many people assume that holding 2 passports means having more flexibility. In some ways, that is true. Dual citizenship can provide travel advantages, family connections, work opportunities, educational benefits, and the ability to maintain legal ties to multiple countries. Millions of people around the world enjoy those benefits every day. But dual citizenship also creates responsibilities, and one of the biggest misunderstandings involves the passport you use when entering and leaving the United States. For years, some travelers have casually switched between passports depending on convenience. They may have used one passport to enter Europe, another to enter Asia, and perhaps a foreign passport when boarding a flight to the United States. In some cases, they got away with it for years without ever encountering a problem. That history has led many people to believe the rules are flexible. The reality is that the legal requirements never changed. What changed is enforcement and detection. Imagine a traveler named Daniel. Daniel was born in the United States to parents who later moved overseas. As an adult, he obtained citizenship in another country and eventually became more accustomed to using that country's passport. It was newer, it had more blank pages, it felt more convenient. So every time he traveled internationally, he reached for the foreign passport first. Then one day he booked a flight to New York. At check-in, the airline asked for proof that he was eligible to enter the United States. He presented his foreign passport. The airline system flagged an issue. The passport did not contain a valid U.S. visa. Daniel explained that he was an American citizen. The airline then asked for his U.S. passport. Daniel admitted it had expired several years earlier. Suddenly, what should have been a routine boarding process became a major problem. The airline could not simply ignore the requirement. The flight was departing. The clock was ticking. Daniel missed his flight and spent days trying to resolve a situation that could have been avoided with a simple passport renewal months earlier. Stories like that are becoming increasingly common because governments and airlines are sharing more information than ever before. Airlines face significant penalties if they transport passengers who lack proper documentation. Because of that, carriers have become much stricter in verifying travel eligibility before passengers ever reach the aircraft. In many cases, travelers encounter problems long before they see a CBP officer. The airline itself becomes the first line of enforcement. That means a dual citizen who arrives at the airport assuming everything will work out may discover the issue at the check-in desk rather than at the border. By that point, options are often limited. Another factor driving confusion in 2026 is the rapid expansion of biometric screening technologies. Modern border systems can compare photographs, travel records, citizenship databases, passport information, and entry histories with incredible speed. Travelers sometimes think they can simply present whichever passport is most convenient and nobody will notice. But the systems in place today are designed specifically to identify inconsistencies. When a person's records indicate U.S. citizenship but they attempt to enter using only foreign documentation, questions naturally arise. Most of the time, these situations are resolved eventually, but they can lead to delays, additional screening, missed connections, and a great deal of unnecessary stress. Families are particularly vulnerable to these issues because dual citizenship often extends across generations. Parents may be meticulous about their own travel documents but overlook their children's. A child born in the United States automatically acquires U.S. citizenship, yet some families travel exclusively using foreign passports because that is what feels familiar. Then one day they encounter a border official or airline representative who points out that the child is required to travel as a U.S. citizen. Suddenly the family faces confusion, delays, and emergency passport applications. These situations are emotional because they often occur during vacations, family emergencies, weddings, funerals, or other important life events when people are already under pressure. At the same time, there is another layer of uncertainty that many dual citizens are watching closely. Political debates surrounding citizenship, immigration, border security, and national allegiance have become increasingly visible. Proposed legislation, public discussions, and media coverage can create anxiety about the future. Whenever a bill related to citizenship is introduced, social media explodes with speculation. Rumors spread rapidly. Some posts claim dual citizenship is about to disappear. Others insist millions of people will be forced to choose one nationality over another. Most of these claims are exaggerated or misleading. The reality is that proposed legislation often faces years of debate, amendment, committee review, legal analysis, and political negotiation before anything becomes law. Responsible planning means staying informed without panicking. What travelers should focus on instead are the rules that already exist today. Those are the rules that affect your next trip, your next airport experience, and your next interaction with immigration authorities. Start by examining every passport you hold. Look at expiration dates. Check whether renewal requirements have changed. Verify that names are consistent across documents. Ensure that any legal name changes have been properly updated. Review travel plans well in advance. Waiting until the week before departure is one of the most common mistakes people make. Another practical step involves digital readiness. Modern travelers often rely entirely on smartphones. Boarding passes, hotel reservations, travel itineraries, insurance information, emergency contacts, and passport scans all live on a device that can be lost, stolen, damaged, or drained of battery power. While digital backups are useful, they should never be your only backup. Carry printed copies of important travel documents. Store them separately from your passport. Keep emergency contact information accessible even if your phone stops working. These simple precautions can make a tremendous difference when unexpected situations arise. It is also important to understand that border officers operate in a high-security environment. Their job is not to make assumptions or overlook inconsistencies. Their responsibility is to verify identity, citizenship, eligibility, and compliance with applicable laws. Most travelers who encounter problems are not criminals. They are ordinary people who misunderstood a rule, overlooked a renewal deadline, or relied on outdated information from a friend or relative. Unfortunately, good intentions do not eliminate administrative consequences. That is why preparation matters so much. As international travel continues to rebound and border systems become increasingly sophisticated, the margin for error becomes smaller. Travelers who stay organized, keep documents current, understand applicable rules, and verify information through official sources generally experience smooth journeys. Those who rely on assumptions, outdated advice, or last-minute improvisation often find themselves facing avoidable complications. The difference between those two outcomes is usually preparation. So if there is one message I want you to remember from today's discussion, it is this: do not wait until your next trip to review your travel documents. Do not assume that because something worked 5 years ago it will work today. Do not rely on social media rumors or second-hand stories. Verify your information, check official guidance, renew documents before they expire, carry the documents you need. And approach every international trip with the mindset that preparation is one of the most valuable forms of protection you can have. Travel should be exciting, meaningful, and rewarding. It should not be derailed by something as preventable as an expired passport or a misunderstanding about which document to present. The more informed you are, the more confident you become. And the more confident you become, the smoother your travel experience is likely to be, no matter where in the world your journey takes you.